Hey everybody, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel. This is the weekly angel card reading video for the week beginning Monday the 9th of December 2019 and running through to the 15th. So that's the 9th to the 15th, 2019. So this is actually a do-over. I recorded this video already, but then I listened back and the sound quality was terrible. So I'm doing it again. Therefore, I've already shuffled the cards, and so I will go through them one at a time. So Monday, this is a card I drew earlier. The card is sensitivity. This is a big one right now. I'm feeling this already. And just a reminder, sometimes the energy around these cards builds before the day and may still exist after the day. So please don't get too attached to the particular 24-hour period that these apply to, because it's not really about the timing that matters. So sensitivity is about noticing if you're feeling really provoked right now, and there could be so many reasons for that. It could be to do with your circumstances, could be to do with the time of year it is, could be to do with the energy that's going on. Maybe something's going on with your, I don't know, with your solar return, who knows, something in your astro chart. I think it's a really sensitive time for us at the moment because we're dealing with so much change and transformation, and also seeing a lot of resistance to that transformation on a global scale in society. And that can be really provoking to those of us who know we need to change, or else, we've got to evolve. So it could be that you're feeling really provoked by the energy around you. And as I mentioned earlier, it is, something of a bananas time of year. You might be picking up on other people's energy at shopping malls or around you, who are very aware of how close the holiday season is, and they've got a lot to do before that time. So the best message to take from this is to be aware of where you spend your time. If you are spending your time around people who are really frazzled, who are really negative, we had the shielding card yesterday, a couple of times last week actually. So this is kind of an adjunct to that message. Really be careful. You're sensitive, honor that. It's a good thing to be sensitive, even though it means, unfortunately, probably a lot of people around you are not going to understand you. Make good decisions about where you go, how you spend your time. And if you're feeling really emotional, please know that's okay. You don't need to try and find a logical reason for the way you feel. If it's how you feel, that's how you feel, and that's good enough reason to feel it. Look after yourself, stay away from people who provoke you, and just take some time out to heal. There's a lot of nature in this card, I should mention as well. Being around nature is a very good way to heal, and to, not saying that being sensitive is an issue that needs to be fixed, but being around nature can sort of help you rebalance a little bit more and clear your energy. This is Tuesday's card, Grace. You'll notice the swan, gliding along the water here. I think that's a nice analogy for this message. The card is asking you, how can you glide through your day a little bit easier? Can you say no to a few commitments where you've overcommitted yourself? Can you give up on trying to change everybody's mind if they don't agree with you? Maybe it's okay if they see things differently. Can you choose not to get involved in every argument that you're invited to? Those sorts of things. Just think about how you can get some peace, some more peace in your day. And again, it's your choices that matter. Choosing not to engage with people who are really provoking, or if you've got a whinger in your office, don't ask them how they are, because you're just giving them an opening to download and complain about everything that's wrong with the world. So don't ask them. Those sorts of things. It's about choosing peace is the simplest way I can put that. Oh, I'm out of order. I know I shuffled these already. You'd think I could have put them in the right order. So this was Wednesday's card. Cancel, clear, delete. I think if you've been watching my videos a while, you'll know that I say this as Control, Alt, Delete, because to me it's more memorable. And on the computer, when you do Control, Alt, Delete, you're rebooting. This is a way you can reboot your thoughts. If you find yourself thinking something that you kind of regret thinking, or you go, that's not actually how I feel, or that's not what I want, because remember that your thoughts create an energetic footprint that is going to help contribute to what you create or attract in your life. So if you think something horrible about someone, you think, I didn't mean to, that's not actually who I am, that's not what I meant. You can cancel out the energy around that. Obviously we can't go back in time and change the fact that you thought that. Cancel out the energy by thinking, cancel, clear, delete. You don't have to say it out loud. I just think it in my head. Or Control, Alt, Delete. It's like recalling the order you just put into the universe, because it's not what you actually wanted. You didn't want to think, oh, nothing ever works out for me. Oh, Control, Alt, Delete that. It's not true. We often think a lot of things that we don't really mean or that we don't really feel, and they're not overly harmful really, but I don't know, I just feel like if it's something that you're getting, your intuition is telling you could potentially be damaging to you, then use the opportunity to clear the energy around that. Heart chakra. This is Thursday's card. So chakras are energy centers in our energy field or aura. The heart chakra is the one about giving and receiving love. And as you probably know, if you watched these videos before, we have to be able to give and receive. We're not here to be martyrs. We're not here to self-sacrifice and give up everything to everyone else. There are no medals given out for that. If you're a woman, that's what you might have been taught. Unfortunately, that's just not what we're here to do. We're here to let others give love to us, and we're here to give love to other people. It needs to be in balance. Obviously, there are times when we will need to receive more than we're able to give. Sometimes we're giving more than we need to receive, but we need to kind of come back into balance at some point. So you might like to look at that. This card may be coming up because you have accidentally, or perhaps intentionally, put up walls around your heart. So we often do this to protect ourselves. So if we've been hurt, if we've suffered a loss, the heart chakra's enemies, if I can put it that way, are grief and loss. Those are the two things that see us put up barriers in that heart chakra energy. The things that cause that heart chakra to get blocked or out of balance. So if you are grieving someone, if you are still hurting over a breakup, even if you're not still in love with the person, it's not about how you feel about the person, it's about how you feel about what happened. And therefore, as a result of what you went through, how you feel about your future capacity to be in a new relationship, or to even have, deeper connections platonically. Are you open to that, or are you terrified of that? Have you somehow taken on board the message that you're not good enough for love, that you're not lovable? Sometimes we do take on these things. Or if you're grieving someone, if I let someone close to me, I'll get hurt because they will leave me. Everybody leaves me. But these are the sorts of things we don't consciously believe because we know they're not true, but on some level we can take these on board. These are the sorts of things I'm dealing with in my energy healing sessions, helping people find what these beliefs are that we sometimes take on board, and then helping them clear them. Because although they do serve a purpose in protecting us, they also keep love at bay, really, and we don't want that. We need to be able to be vulnerable to a degree, but also able to trust that we can keep ourselves safe without needing to put up these super high fortresses. And the best way we protect ourselves is by being in tune with our intuition, because our intuition always tells us this person is not trustworthy, this person is not authentic, that sort of thing. So the card is asking us to step more deeply into love. Now, if you don't have any of these kinds of situations going on in your life right now, it might be just generally asking you to step more into love, in terms of getting out of that pattern of fear, and getting more into love in terms of, instead of thinking, I don't want to do that I don't want to go for that job because it'll be really embarrassing if I don't get it, and I'm afraid that people will laugh at me, or I'm afraid that I will be rejected. Instead of thinking, well, I love myself enough to give myself a shot at this. Those sorts of things. Just try and reframe the situation. What would love have me do? I know that doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy, and it certainly doesn't mean the fear goes away, because there is no such magic wand in the world to make fear go away. And fear is often there because we're on the right track. It literally comes up because we're doing something right, and it's like, uh-oh, is this okay? Because if you're not feeling any fear, then you're probably not taking any risks, and risks are what is necessary for our growth. So that's Thursday's card. Friday's card is divine guidance, which is sort of an umbrella, expression for all of these cards. Really, they're all divine guidance. So this one is actually one of the early card decks I ever got, and I notice some of the ones that were a bit more recent, the cards are more targeted. So this one is a little more generic. What it's really telling us is to trust our divine intuition. And I guess the main reason a card like this would come up in a personal reading would be to confirm that the messages you've been receiving are accurate. So if you're deciding, if you're trying to make some sort of decision, regardless of whether it's low grade or, stakes are a little higher, your intuition is already telling you what the right choice is. Fear will be telling you, giving you a million reasons to take to take the safe option, or to do what other people tell you to do or expect you to do, or what everyone else has done. But your intuition will be telling you something else. And the best way to figure that out is to think, I did this once actually with a job. I was offered a job that I knew I didn't really want, but there were lots of really good aspects about it. Stability, the money, and I was like trying to kind of fool myself into thinking, yeah, I can do this. Oh, it's fine. It'll only be short term. I can do it. And I just knew I couldn't do it. And so I went to respond to the email to say, yeah, I'm in. Let's talk about when I can start. And I just had this, I just couldn't send. I just couldn't hit send. I just couldn't hit it. And I was like, why am I having so much trouble sending this email? And I knew it was because I just didn't want to do it. And it was my intuition screaming at me. Intuition doesn't usually scream, it's usually very gentle, but in this case it was I think that my guides were getting a bit annoyed at me for ignoring them for so long, because the whole way I'd been getting told this is not right for you, and just saying you will be miserable in this job. And I would have been. I absolutely would have been, and I would have regretted taking it. So in the end, I cleared all that and sent an email saying thanks, but no thanks. So your intuition does tell you what to do. We have a way of ignoring it, or of kind of drowning it out and going with what the brain or the ego is telling us in terms of, this looks good on paper. This is what your neighbor did and it worked out well for them, and this will look impressive on Instagram, or whatever it is. So be really careful. You always know. We sometimes struggle to trust it, but we know. And remember, you can always ask for a sign if you're not sure that you have understood your intuition correctly. And there's tons of information on my website about angel signs. So on that subject of taking risks, here's one I prepared earlier. Saturday's card, Faith. The angel is literally on the edge of a cliff here and getting ready to jump. Very easy to do if you're an angel. You've got wings. We don't have wings. So we're very human, and we are inclined to freak out if we don't know where we're going to land. And so the card is probably telling you that if you are looking at an opportunity or something is coming up for you where there's a degree of risk, and I'm not talking about extreme risks here, I'm talking about there's a chance things might not go well, or you just don't know how things are going to look. This is asking you to try to, and if that's still too scary, that's okay. It's always your choice. Everything you do is your choice, and your angels don't have an ego, so they really don't mind. They're not going to be offended if you choose not to go with this, but they are kind of issuing a gentle invitation here that something really cool could happen if you take a chance here. So the thing I always like to mention with these, well, two things actually. My favourite saying about faith is that faith is taking the first step even though you can't see the whole staircase. So it's important to know that if you don't know the whole kind of progression of where you're going, that's okay. You don't need everything mapped out. Simply knowing it's right for you is enough for now. And the second thing I would say is that this does not guarantee success. So just because they're saying it's right for you to take this risk doesn't mean that it's going to work out perfectly. It may not work out at all, but maybe there's something in there. Maybe you need to do it anyway. Maybe there's something in there you're going to learn or get, or maybe it's something you need to do because the cost of staying stagnant is often more painful than the fear that comes up when we do something new. I moved to Sydney 5 years ago, and I'd lived here before, so in some ways it wasn't as much of a risk because I knew exactly what it would be like living here. I'd lived here in my 20s for a few years. I came here because of an angel card reading, actually. and then I went again and got another one to make sure I got it right. And it just didn't make any sense on paper because I'd lived here before, and it just wasn't, there wasn't any really compelling reason for me to go. I just knew it was the right thing, and it was really hard for me to trust that and to go ahead with it, because what if it didn't work out? What if I end up looking stupid? And I just had this feeling that people were looking at me going, why is she doing this? Everything's fine. There's no reason to leave Auckland. And the main reason I did it was because actually, even though my life looked good on paper, my life in Auckland was profoundly dissatisfying. I was stuck. I was so stagnant, and the thought of being in that same place in 1 year's time, not literally in terms of geography, but in terms of where I was at in my life, was so upsetting that I couldn't not take this risk. And that doesn't mean it wasn't scary. It doesn't mean I still was freaking out, not knowing how it was going to work, how it was going to look, or maybe even potentially thinking, I can just come back in a year and no one will care. No one will even say anything. They might have, but I was trying to fool myself that we'll just try this for a short term. It's a bit like when you go to the gym and go, I'll just run for a couple of minutes on the treadmill and see what happens. And then after a while you keep going, oh, just do it a little bit more, just a little bit more. And that's how you trick yourself into doing a half-hour workout. It was a bit like that. I had to kind of talk myself into doing it because I knew it was the right thing. And it was. I mean, I knew I was going to meet my soulmate here. I knew my work was going to open up. I didn't know it was going to, involve a spiritual business, but here we are. So I didn't know how that was going to go, but I knew that if I stayed where I was, I was going to regret it. So there you go. Probably said enough about that one now. Sunday, this is a bit of an interesting card. It's depicting an angel called Opal, and it says, your children on earth and in heaven are happy and well cared for by God and the angels. So two things, the kids are okay. It's the first kind of message to take from this. If you are a parent, you're an expectant mother, you're worried about your kids, it's going to be okay. It's a very reassuring message here. The other thing is, if you are grieving for a child you have lost, and this can be one you've lost in utero, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to even be recent. It can be completely historic. But of course, that's something you never forget. So I know this is a little sensitive, but the card is letting you know that your child is okay and is being looked after. So both sort of, I guess, avenues of the message are reassuring. One of them is a little bit more delicate than the other, but you're being reminded that children are always being looked after, and so are we, for that matter, adults. I'm going to take a slightly different meaning here because I'm aware that message is not going to apply to everyone, and I'm going to relate it to my own life. Something that's been coming up for me is a lot of healing around stuff that happened in my childhood, and I wrote a post about this a couple of weeks ago, which you can find on my if you go to my bio and click on click on the link in my bio, it will take you to my website. It's the second post down, or if you're watching this on YouTube, it's www.onegroundedangel.com. A lot of the healing I'm dealing with at the moment, a lot of the issues I'm dealing with are all linked to my childhood. There are things I'm going through that remind me of the way that I responded. The way I'm responding to situations now is connected to ways I responded in the past, or things that happened to me in the past, in terms of shutting down or, being rejected. That's all coming up again. So perhaps it is that what you're going through is connected to something unhealed from your childhood, a time when our needs, we're dependent on adults to meet our needs, and if that doesn't happen, if we're not loved, we're not made to feel safe, we're not listened to, we're not believed, all those sorts of things can really affect the way we show up for ourselves and each other in adulthood. So that may be going on too. I just felt like I should share that. Yes, it is about me, but I felt like it may relate to some of you as well. So looking at the week, some big emotions, sorry, please don't shoot the messenger, coming through, but we do have some kind of advice in terms of choosing our thoughts and taking some responsibility for where our thoughts go, and some real courage with this faith card as well. So, and I would say the faith and the divine guidance are connected, because the guidance you're receiving may require you to have some courage, or to not that you need to go looking for courage, you've already got it, but to trust that you are brave enough to do this thing that you're contemplating doing. It might be something small, it might be something big, it might be something that you plug away at over time, I don't know. So that's it for the week. Thanks for watching. Again, starts on the 9th of December, not the 10th. I apologise for that confusion, until the 15th, and I will be back next week to read for you again. If you want more information, my website is a great resource. I've got lots of articles there, and you can also find information about how to book a personal reading. I cannot give you personal guidance on a YouTube video because there are so many of you and you're going through a whole lot of different things. So if these messages aren't getting deep enough for you, please book a personal reading, and I will be working most of the holiday period if you would like to do that. So, and also these will be on my Instagram each day, giving a little bit more information about each card, and on my Facebook page at One Grounded Angel is my Instagram, and my Facebook page is called One Grounded Angel. Thanks very much, everybody.